It's our pleasure this afternoon to present this webinar on youth-adult partnerships. With well-connected communities, our youth-adult partnerships are paramount, and it's a way of doing business, not a separate program, a way of integrating everyone's voice at the table so that our health outcomes for our communities are positive and representative of all the different facets of the people that we are working with. I'm very pleased this afternoon to have Faye Moncloa, who is the 4-H Youth Development Advisor from Santa Clara County with the University of California Cooperative Extension Service. Faye is a youth-adult partnership researcher and practitioner. She has worked with youth in partnership for 25 years. And joining her today so that this webinar is truly reflective of our purpose and outcomes, we will have Fiona Reyes, who is a 4-H member. Fiona has been a 4-H member since she was 5 years old. She's now in high school and an active partner with adults in many aspects of 4-H. So Faye, I'm pleased to turn the reins over to you.
Hello, and thank you for participating in this training module to learn more about engaging youth and adults in partnerships to promote community change. This webinar will be presented by Faye Moncloa and Fiona Reyes from the University of California Cooperative Extension. My name is Faye Moncloa, and I come into this space as a youth-adult partnerships researcher and practitioner. I have worked in partnership with youth for the past 25 years in California.
My name is Fiona Reyes. I am a 4-H member, and I am now in high school and have been involved in teams and partnerships with other youth and adults.
We hope that by the end of this training module, you will have an increased understanding of the core elements of youth-adult partnerships, that you will be able to identify challenges and opportunities of youth participation in your community, and that you will have an increased understanding of strategies to sustain youth engagement in community health councils.
Now that we've gone over the overview, we will talk about the definitions of youth engagement and youth-adult partnerships, then talk about challenges and opportunities, creating welcoming spaces, decision-making and power, sustaining youth engagement, and then we will finish.
So what does meaningful youth engagement mean to you? Well, we offer a few key elements of what youth engagement means. It means that young people have opportunities to participate in decision-making and have the opportunity to learn and practice leadership. Young people can experience a sense of belonging, and young people and adults are working together with both groups sharing equally in the decision-making, also known as youth-adult partnerships.
You know that youth are engaged in your program or community health council if their interests are reflected in the committee, task force, or program, if they are involved in stating goals and needs, if they are involved in activity or program planning and evaluation, if they are the leaders of the activities, if they are peer trainers, teachers, advocates, or counselors for other youth, if the youth engagement and mentoring happens over time, youth are involved in civic and social justice movements, youth hold positions of power in the committee, task force, or agency, youth have fun and are excited to be a part of the activity, program, or agency, and youth report feeling valued and respected as partners in the agency. Why is it important to engage youth as partners? We want to encourage young people in active learning, in new roles, and in new responsibilities because it is good for them. It helps them get skills, build confidence, and feel a sense of connection. Youth engagement is an issue of community development. In a civil society, everyone has a role to play and everyone is needed. In a civil society, youth are not segregated and isolated from adults in day-to-day community life and decision-making. Youth have value insights on policy and program that need to be brought to the table. Youth-adult partnerships are also an issue of social justice. It is not simply that youth can contribute in community affairs. It is that they have a right and responsibility to participate. Young people have a right to comment on all matters impacting their own lives and their own communities. This perspective is explicit in the United Nations Rights of the Child. Every country in the United Nations signed this accord, except the United States and Somalia. Go figure. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't give our youth the right and responsibility to participate.
So, what are the adult roles in a youth-adult partnership? So in these partnerships, youth and adults have the time to share ideas, experience, and perspectives. And it is the sharing that's important. It's the relationship building that's important. When youth and adults start to listen to each other and start to brainstorm ideas, then synergy occurs. There's a equation that is like 1 + 1 = 3. And to me, that kind of like is an image of what youth-adult partnerships is. It is this synergy that leads to authentic partnership among the younger and the older. And it is these partnerships that contributed to positive change. So to make sure that we have shared understanding, I offer this definition of youth-adult partnerships. If you've been present at the previous trainings, you have seen this before. Youth-adult partnerships is the practice of multiple youth and multiple adults deliberating and acting together. So it is not one youth and one adult, or one adult and like two youth. It's like a group of youth and a group of adults. Engage in a collective, and I add democratic fashion, and over a sustained period of time. So you cannot say that you bring youth to a meeting for one time and that's youth-adult partnerships. It's an ongoing relationship. And it's done through shared work, and it's intended to promote social justice, strengthen an organization, or affirmatively address a community issue. I'm going to introduce to you Nancy. So this is a narrated story of how Nancy has been able to participate in activities that she's interested in partnership with adults.
Hi, my name is Nancy, and I'm 15 years old. I'm one of 2 children in my family, and I'm involved in 4-H, my school, and my community. Both my parents work, so I generally rely on my grandparents to take me places. I am actively engaged in my club's ranch committee and the county ambassador team. Being active in these committees and teams means that I stay updated with reading and sending emails. I attend monthly or weekly meetings for each position so that we are able to achieve our goals, such as creating a new program or organizing an event. Once we complete those goals, I'm also expected to be a part of the programs and events. I got involved in these positions because I was given personal invitations, and I was encouraged often to get involved. For the county ambassador position, one of the adult advisors came up to me at an event, and in person, they told me that they really thought I should apply to be a county ambassador. If I had just been sent a general email that was also sent to many other youth, and not had another leader make me feel like my opinions and my abilities were wanted, then I may not have applied for the county ambassador team. I participate in these committees because I can communicate with the team using Google Hangouts or online meetings, and they are held after I get out of school. If these weekly meetings were held in person, I could not participate as often. Some of the members on my team are in similar situations where they need to meet after school or work, and others are not, but everyone is still understanding and accommodating for my schedule, which I appreciate greatly. In addition to the ranch committee and county ambassador positions, I'm interested in being a part of task forces or community collaborative teams, but I know that they usually meet during the day to accommodate for professional schedules. I can attend these meetings only during the summer if I am not working. People should consider scheduling meetings from 4 p.m. or later if they want youth participation. Also, I am unable to drive myself to these in-person meetings, and sometimes there is no one available to take me. So it's really helpful when meetings are held close to a bus or metro station. Another concern that I have about the task force is that I've heard from my friends that they were a little nervous for the first couple meetings. At the in-person meetings there, they felt that the adults did not really want them there, and the adults and youth sat on different sides of the table, and there was very little conversation between the youth and adults. When I asked my friends how it could be improved, they suggested simple things like having a sign at the door, doing a little icebreaker to start off the meeting, and changing the seating arrangement. They believe that small changes like these will evolve into everyone respecting each other and feeling comfortable participating at the meetings. And I agree with them.
In the next slide, we have a poll. And this is just to check for understanding. So what are the barriers to youth participation? Check all that apply. So some of the barriers are having responsibilities at home. Some things cost too much money. Feeling unwelcome by adults. Parents or caretakers not giving permission. Transportation. Feeling unwelcome. Oh, that's double. Feeling unwelcome by adults, double. Feeling physical unsafe. Worrying some people might look down on me, immigration status, language barriers, and meeting location changes often. It looks like from your one choice, it was transportation had the highest, and then followed by feeling unwelcome by adults. And actually, these are barriers that come from research and also, from research on youth participation, and all answers are good answers. As you may know, this list is not exhaustive, and the participation will vary among communities. So thanks for participating. The next slide is also a poll, and I hope this one's check all that apply. And in here, we want to know what are the factors that support youth participation, such as personal invitations, free transportation or rides, meetings are held near the bus stop or metro, virtual participation, e.g. Google Hangouts, meetings are held after 4, stipend is provided for youth, and snacks at meetings. Great, personal invitations to participate, and transportation, and meetings are held after 4 p.m. Yes, if this meeting today was held at 4 p.m. California time, Fiona would be with us. And that's how I've been successful in having many partnerships with young people with 4 p.m. and on meetings. So yes, all of these answers are correct answers. And providing stipend for youth, even though it got like a lower vote, young people who may come from low-income families generally get jobs after schools. So if you provide them a stipend, then they can hopefully participate. Oh, before we move on to the next segment, are there any clarifying questions about this section, about factors that promote or not youth participation? There's one question. Was NAC's research to support youth participation? And yes, the answer is yes. It also provides, at least with Latino youth, that's the kind of research that I've been doing lately. Youth at the table. So imagine that you have removed all barriers to participation, and now youth are at the table at your community meeting. And the setting is a community health task force meeting just ended. The meeting started with everyone saying their names, but no icebreaker. And after the meeting, a couple of adults have the following conversation. And just to prep you, this is like an animated video using Scratch, a computer science program. And the first scene is like a group of adults talking with each other. And then the next scene, they bring a young person into the mix. So then here, Fiona and I debrief what just happened. Fiona, what do you think adults need to do to engage young people in this task force?
Well, youth need to feel welcomed when they first arrive at a meeting by doing an icebreaker where they get to know a little bit about the people in the room. And of course, one sole youth will not feel welcomed. They'll feel intimidated. In a meeting of 25 people, at least 8 youth or more need to participate to feel safe and welcomed.
Yes, definitely. Adults need to also have a better understanding of the value of having young people at the table. The exercise where youth identify strengths and challenges of working with adults, and adults do the same for working with youth, is a great place to start when youth first come to a meeting. In this story, adults wanted youth input, but once Sophia arrived, they sort of forgot about her. If for some reason only one youth is at the meeting, what do you think will help Sophia to participate?
A great way to support youth participation is by breaking down a task. And instead of having a large group discussion where Sophia may feel intimidated, a better way would be to work in small groups. This way, Sophia can be in the group with Abby to feel safer and can speak with 2 to 3 people. In my experience, working in small groups is better for me and for my friends. We feel more comfortable to participate and express our opinions.
Okay, so it's a poll. So think about the time that you first walked into a meeting or a room where you knew no one and people did not welcome you at this meeting. Surprisingly, some of you were active and most of you were not. And then think about your younger selves, rewind to your younger selves and how you may have felt in a similar situation. And so that's just to highlight the importance of welcoming young people and doing icebreakers and all that kind of stuff to help them be part of the meeting that you just recruited them to be part of. Great. The next one is also a poll. So how can you create a sense of belonging for young people at meetings where the majority of people are adults? So this is, you can check all that apply. You have a welcoming sign outside and at the door. Do a fun icebreaker at every meeting that goes beyond stating your name and your agency. Manage how people sit around the table so that youth don't sit on one side. Ensure at least a third of participants are youth. Safety in numbers. Create opportunities to work in small groups during the meeting. And then create opportunities where youth are engaged in ways consistent with their interests and youth are given clear roles and expectations, and encourage youth to take on the role of recorder or small group presenter. Great. So I see that, just about all of these are very good answers, and I'm glad that, can we scroll down and see? Perfect. Create opportunities to work in small groups. Yes. And this scenario that we shared with you, I actually saw it happen at a meeting that was trying to, it's actually a community health council in my county that was trying to recruit youth, and then they didn't do the icebreaker, and they did all of the things that are you seeing. I mean, these are all based in real life. So yes, all answers are good answers. Great. So the next segment is about power and decision making. And this has our last scenario. So the setting is a community health task force with 25 adults and 8 youth. So now we've increased the number of youth. Youth are actively participating in the conversation on how to improve sexuality education in the school. The chairperson stated that this is a brainstorm and all ideas are good ideas, and that she will be recording the ideas.
I have an idea. In my school, we have a TV broadcast every Wednesday morning where students make announcements of school events, clubs, or sports games. I think we can introduce a brief skit around sexuality education each week into this broadcast.
I don't know, Janelle. That's a great idea, but it may not work in all schools. I can see parents complaining to the principal about this, and this would take us a few steps back.
Okay.
Oh, well, I have another idea. Why don't we make a flyer announcing a presentation with people from public health at the school?
Well, that's a good idea, but we have tried this several times before and it just doesn't work. The students that come to the talk are the ones who already know everything about this topic.
Okay, how about we develop an app? Most teens have a smartphone, and an app would be a somewhat easy thing to do. And the youth of this committee can work together to develop it.
Well, Fiona, that's a good idea. However, I respectfully disagree with you. I think developing an app may be an easy thing to do for you, but the marketing of the app will take up way too much time and resources that we don't have. How about we go with your idea of doing something digitally and create a website instead?
Okay, that works too.
Any more ideas? So Fiona, what do you think is going on?
Well, each time a youth presents an idea, it is shut down by the adult. It seems like the youth's ideas are not good enough. Only a few ideas were brainstormed, the meeting ended very quickly, and the final idea is decided by only one person.
Yes, definitely. And the adult is not allowing for young people to offer ideas of a brainstorm. This person is using her power over youth to shut down every single one of their ideas. Fiona, what do you think should have happened?
I think that all ideas should have been captured first. Then each idea can be evaluated with pros and cons. But if each time a youth offers an idea and it gets shut down, then that is an easy way to silence youth participation. Adults need to remember that just because they implemented an idea several times, it doesn't necessarily mean that if a youth implemented this idea, it would have the same results. Also, other youth's opinions on the ideas matter as well. Do you agree?
Yes, most definitely. And it is clear that in this dialogue, the only person with decision-making power is the adult, when youth are also members of this committee. What do you think would have helped youth own more power?
Ideally, the adult would refrain from commenting during the brainstorm by allowing all ideas to be generated and captured. Then, youth participation would have continued. It would have been much better if a young person was capturing the ideas. This way, the power rests with youth.
So far, we have explored barriers and opportunities for youth participation, the importance of welcoming youth at the table, and inviting a group of youth to a meeting. In this next section, we present key strategies for sustaining youth engagement and fostering youth-adult partnerships.
Power and decision-making should look like all youth and adults participating in the conversation. No one adult should be dominating the conversation. Sometimes there may be awkward pauses because people are thinking of the idea or they're too scared to share the idea. But just wait a little while and hear what everyone has to say. It's also smart to discuss pros and cons of each idea. You can see in our picture, each idea has pros and cons to have a better power and decision-making process.
This image describes Hart's ladder of participation. The first rung is manipulation, the second is decoration, and the third is tokenism. All of these aspects are examples of non-participation by young people. The fourth is assigned but informed. The fifth is consulted and informed. The sixth, adult-initiated shared decisions with children. And the eighth is child-initiated shared decisions with adults. The rungs 4 through 8 are examples of the different degrees of participation. In any one meeting or partnership with a young person, you can have several of these present at the same time. And youth might play different roles depending on the task at any point in time. For young people who have not heard of the concept that means youth-adult partnerships, knowing what the possible roles could be and knowing that some things like manipulation and decoration are non-participation might help them to better figure out how they can have an active role in the partnership. As a way to recap on the information presented so far and to align it to Hart's ladder, here's an example. So when we think of youth engagement, we strive to create opportunities for young people to be in the top rungs of the ladder, as I mentioned earlier, like 6, 7, and 8, which are numbered here on the slide. In the scenario where Sophia was the only young person present, adults engaged in decoration and possibly tokenism. They invited Sophia into the meeting, but they didn't create a welcoming and safe space for her, nor did they encourage Sophia to express her voice. In the brainstorm scenario, youth were consulted for their ideas and they had some level of participation, but they were only informed of the decision. So this was an example of consulted and informed. In the pros and cons scenario that Fiona shared with you, youth and adults participated in an adult-initiated task, yet both youth and adults engaged in shared decision-making. And this is an example of rung 6 in Hart's ladder. In closing, we want to share with you that youth-adult partnerships are not linear, and no two partnerships are alike. Partnerships are relational and take time to develop. As adults, we enter into the partnership with an open mind, knowing when to step in to ask guiding questions and when to step out.
And as youth, we enter into the partnership to get things done and lead and learn from and with adults.
So I want to circle back to our learning objectives. So do you have a better understanding of core elements of youth-adult partnerships, challenges and opportunities of youth participation, and meaningful youth engagement? I also wanted to share some resources for youth-adult partnerships for a deeper, to get in a deeper dive of these. And in this particular website, ACT for Youth Center of Excellence, has 5 sessions, trainings for new educators and volunteers around youth-adult partnerships and positive youth development. And Cornell University developed these in collaboration with Dr. Shep Selding. And they have 5 modules, 1 on youth engagement, and will provide a much better context of youth-adult partnerships within positive youth development. Another resource for you to consider is this website from the, has endless information about youth-adult partnerships from Shep Selding. It also offers an online training module, has short readings, it has videos, it has reflective questions. And at the end of this self-guided training, you should be able to answer questions about how I can work with youth and adults to create a great and effective program. What outcomes can I expect of a quality youth-adult partnerships? What are the best opportunities for youth-adult partnerships in my program? What tools are available for continuous improvement? How do I use youth-adult partnerships to recruit new youth and adults into the program? And what are good examples of youth-adult partnerships in Wisconsin? Another resource for you to consider is this website from the, has endless information about youth-adult partnerships from Shep Selding. It also offers an online training module, has short readings, it has videos, it has reflective questions. And at the end of this self-guided training, you should be able to answer questions about how I can work with youth and adults to create a great and effective program. What outcomes can I expect of a quality youth-adult partnerships? What are the best opportunities for youth-adult partnerships in my program? What tools are available for continuous improvement? How do I use youth-adult partnerships to recruit new youth and adults into the program? And what are good examples of youth-adult partnerships in Wisconsin? These are the references that we used. We want to thank you for participating in this webinar, and we want to share with you how Fiona and Faye worked together on this. So Fiona, could you share with folks how this presentation came about?
Yes, it was a youth-adult partnership. It started out with Faye reaching out to me, explaining this task that needed to be completed and explaining how we could work together. And I accepted because I wanted to learn some new things and gain new experiences. And then we communicated through email, also through online meetings. We also met in person a couple times, and we collaborated very well together. I feel a mutual respect between us both and a friendship. It's not all business, you know. We talk about our days and we get to know each other, and the result is a very productive youth-adult partnership.
Thanks, Fiona.
Thank you.